Cassy, what's up? You guys, this is my very good friend Cassy. She and I met at my roommate Joe's one of his shows in LA. But she was a page at Paramount as well. And so that's kind of how he met her, and she's just become a really great friend and confidant, and somebody that is just always a team player for everyone that she meets, and is just one of the most energetic and positive people that I know. And she's doing big things. And a lot of times she is the one getting people onto a podcast. So I thought it would be really cool for us to be able to talk to somebody that knows a lot about the inner workings of the industry, that sometimes just doesn't get the light that she deserves. So Cassy, thank you so much for being with us tonight.
Thanks for having me, guys. I'm excited. It's nice to finally meet you guys.
Yeah, nice to meet you too.
Yeah, you too. Hopefully good things, or at least some good things.
All good.
Oh, okay.
All the good things.
Good deal.
So yeah, do you want to just kind of like start off by telling us a little bit about what you're doing right now?
Right now.
Can you
Yeah.
Are you allowed to talk about your job now? Okay, cool.
No.
Right.
Totally. So I spent the majority of the quarantine unemployed, but I was working on connecting with a lot of people and just keeping my network open. And I had a bunch of interviews at the beginning of the quarantine, and a lot of them kind of ended up being in the same place by not having the ability to hire because no one was going back to the office anytime soon. So I kind of lost hope on jumping into work right away, and I just took the time to reflect and, use this space wisely while I had it and this time. So I ended up following up with a couple of the jobs, and one in particular was with the Oprah Winfrey Network, and it was for a position that I hadn't really ever done before. I initially interviewed for a marketing position with them, and they came back to me and said, we think you'd be great for the president's desk. And I said, that's a lot. It was not something I ever expected, and especially them having come to me with that was amazing. And it just turned into this very long process of waiting, like we have been in this pandemic. But I did it, and I did the work to be where I am today, and they saw what I could accomplish, and they took a chance on me, and now I've started working with them. So I'm on to week 2 now, and it's pretty amazing what I'm learning and what I'm going to be able to be doing for the company, with everyone I'm working with. I'm really excited. So I'm going to be overseeing all of the departments and projects, and it's going to be a lot of learning. So I'm excited. That's what I'm working on right now.
I want to mention real quick, Drew.
Go for it.
She said that she took quarantine to look for a new job and everything, and use it wisely doing that. But Cassy was busy at work. Like, she was doing like PR stuff for her friends, like pro bono. She was working, and she was doing work while she was in quarantine and unemployed. But she was getting after it and making a lot of strides. So
yeah, I feel like I'm a really big workaholic, and I've never been without a job since I've moved out to LA. So this was kind of a really weird experience for me, in that I had to just do what I could with the time that we had, and like Arthur said, like, use it wisely. So a friend reached out to me and was like, I know you're doing your PR thing, and he didn't actually know that I stopped working at my last job. So when I told him, he was like, well, would you be able to come and work for me and help us with this project? And I was like, just so you know, I'm not going to have any of the same contacts I would have had before. It's going to be completely like who I know on a personal level. And he said, I trust you. Let's go with it. And yeah, I was helping him with PR. And then I got a lot of people that he was working with for this project onto a friend's podcast. And then my friend was like, hey, I like these conversations we're doing on this podcast. Do you mind getting people that you know for me onto my podcast? So then I started helping them with that. And yeah, asking Arthur to do it. I was asking some of our buddies in LA, like my friends abroad, just because I have a really big outreach of people around the world that I know would be awesome to talk about and have on a podcast. So I was kind of scouting in that way. But yeah, I just like to stay busy, and I felt like this was the perfect time to just recharge, reset, and just do the things I love in a time where I had the opportunity to. So
Cool.
Hope that made sense.
Yeah, that actually answered my question that I was going to ask, kind of what you were doing before that. And it sounds like a lot of PR just for anybody you could. So
yeah, I came out here 4 years ago, and I started working at Paramount as a page. Then I got hired full-time there, and I was working in business affairs for a year. And I just found it in my heart that like PR was my passion and that was my calling, because I'm always one to go to a friend's show or go to their concert and just like always support my friends. So PR was really striking to me, and I was working at a PR firm for a year, and then that's when I moved over to Oprah just recently. So PR is still like what I want to do long term, but this opportunity with Oprah, I know it can take me anywhere, just the connections and the growth that I'm going to be seeing in myself and what I'm going to learn. It's all going to be crazy, but amazing. So I'm excited.
do you think you'll get to use any of that public relations in your new position? I mean, is there going to be any like direct correlation? Okay. I figured, but
yeah, I'm working for the president, so she's talent in herself. Like she does a lot of interviews and she's on panels, and she is very well known in the public eye. So I'm working hand in hand with the head of PR at our network. So just that experience alone is going to be so valuable in the long run.
Okay.
So, how did you get into PR? Like, what inspired you to do like all the stuff for your friends and to get into all this?
Yeah, I mean, I've always been a really big people person. I just get high off of, being around my friends and family and everything. And it's so inspiring to me to see what my friends are doing and accomplishing with their gifts and their talents. And I've always just wanted to make sure everyone knows about it. So if a movie's coming out, I'm like, guys, let's go see this. This looks awesome. But it's the same with my friends and their projects, because I know this city is very hard to make it, and everyone needs that little bit of push. And I've always been that little pusher for all my friends growing up throughout the years. And Arthur will tell you, like, the second he started telling me that he had a play that he was rehearsing, I was so excited for him. And obviously I was joking, but I was like, I'm not gonna be able to make it. And then I went to all 3 nights of his show, and it's just showing up, So being able to be there for everyone and letting the public know what people around you are working on and how creative they are, it runs through my blood. Like I just want to scream it at the top of my lungs because I'm so proud of my friends. So that's what got me into PR.
Huh? Yeah, you sound like you're a better friend to Arthur than we are.
You guys are on a podcast with him.
Oh, wow.
Pretty awesome.
No doubt. No doubt, Gene.
You sound like a very like small town friend, kind like we're all from a small town. You just sound like someone that we would meet in our town and be like a friend to everybody. Can you get like, where are you from? We don't really know much about you.
No, I'm British. I grew up in Washington, D.C. though. So I was born in London, and then when I was a year and a half, I moved to D.C. and Christmas vacations, summer vacations, they were all spent in England with my family. But yeah, I grew up in Washington, D.C. and graduated, and then I went to school right outside of London in Brighton. So did my undergrad there for 3 years, and then I did my master's for a year, and then I moved home for a couple months, and then I moved here. And the rest is history.
Busy.
But yeah, I feel like one of my buddies always says this, like whenever we go out or anything, like I will always know someone there. So even if we're going out with a group of 3 or something and we're at a bar, there's always going to be someone that I can run into on the street at night or whatever, during the day, at a park, on a hike. And there's always some kind of connection. Like I'm finding that LA is getting to be a smaller and smaller place through this industry. And I love to keep up with my relationships and my friendships, and in college, like that's when everyone tries to like branch out, build their own life, you know, outside of coming from high school and stuff. And I knew one of my friends in particular was not someone that was good at keeping in touch, but we grew up together, and I wasn't going to let college be the thing that like made us stop talking. So I would always be the one to shoot her a text or a Facebook message once every like 3 months, and nothing changed, you know? So that's me. I'm that person that's always going to be very homey with everyone. And I don't know. I just love my friends.
When I was traveling to Europe, she had like a list of people that she was going to connect me with and everything. And even when it like there was a chance that I was going to be trapped in Europe, like she was like, I can get you a place to stay. No worries. Like she's just so she I believe it when she says that she like walks out the door anywhere and she'd be able to, you know, say hi to 10 people, if not just one. So.
Yeah, it's helped being around so many varieties of cultures growing up. I did go to an international school, so a lot of my friends' parents, they worked for the World Bank, which is this international organization in DC, and they would travel a lot. So also our friends had parents that were also diplomats, so they would only be in DC for 3 years and then move. So again, I would keep up with my friends, and that meant like from 4th grade to 7th grade, if they left in 7th grade, they'd be in Europe, and then I'd keep in touch until we were in college and then see them for a weekend, you know? So I have friends all over, and then adding to that, going to school abroad. None of my friends were from the States, so coming to LA, a lot of people had college friends here. I didn't really have any friends from college in LA, but I spent a summer out here back in 2013, and I did this internship, and that was the first time I had been to LA, and I'd met a lot of people through that program. So a lot of them are still here, so that's kind of like my home front for LA, but Paramount so quickly took over that because there's just so many people that come in and out of that studio through that program that we did, and Arthur will tell you, like, everyone's basically like family from that. So
we touched on work, but what do you do outside of work? Like, what are your hobbies?
My hobbies, oh God, guys, this feels like a dating app question. Like what?
Well,
but there's 3 of us.
I brought you two.
I love long walks.
Oh God.
No, I'm kidding. No,
you're not. You really do though.
Okay, I do. But I'm literally at the beach every weekend. I always like to stay active and like either work out or go on a hike. Arthur and I hike all the time. Hanging out with my friends, going to the movies once upon a time, traveling. That's something I was into. I'm trying to see a lot more of California now that we've been locked inside for a while. I've realized, okay, like let's just drive around our state. Why not? It's so big and I've barely seen any of it. So I'm trying to do more little trips like that coming up this year. But yeah, I just like to do anything and everything. I can't roller skate as well as Mr. White over here, but I did pick that up when I went home for a couple weeks and I was rollerblading like I was 7 years old again. Yeah, I played soccer, lacrosse. I miss playing that. But yeah, I just like to stay active, hang out with friends. Cool. Have you guys been to California? Well, you guys
no.
can come.
Arthur's invited me out a few times, but I just never found an excuse to go, I guess.
Well, you have an excuse now.
That's true.
Yeah, and now you have no excuse not to go.
Yes, yep. I don't have any.
And now that I make sure that you come, you need to know that. So
okay,
it's get ready for California. Wyatt, what about you?
I've been there a couple times. Once I went out there and stayed with Arthur for like a couple days. It's pretty neat, you know. I'm not exactly I don't know what you would say, Cali boy. I don't know. I can't stand traffic. Just can't do it. But
it hasn't been that much over the last couple months.
I guess that's probably true.
Yeah.
But
also, you gotta find the right spot in town to live. Like if you
True.
live close to where you work, stuff. You can't spend much time on that.
I love the weather. I mean, 75 basically at least. It doesn't get cold. I like that, but about to go more. Go see Arthur.
Yeah, you guys both come out at the same time. Record a podcast from here.
Ooh,
We should.
we could do that.
Yeah,
Need to find some
absolutely.
microphones, but we could do it.
Yeah, and some better.
Have you guys
cameras.
only done this virtually? Have you guys like met up and done it together? Any of the episodes?
No, we've been
No,
remote
it's just
for all
all
of
been
them.
virtual.
Yeah.
Very professional, guys.
Well, once it
Very nice.
once it ends, well, Drew and I live like 20 minutes apart, so we could probably do
Yeah.
it together. But once we get a vaccine and stuff, maybe we'll start doing it more in person. Without Arthur now. Arthur's leaving us, but
Yeah. Well, maybe
We'll still keep it-
Drew will move out to LA, and then you'll have to just be
There we go.
the Lone Ranger.
that's fine. I'll be a Lone Ranger.
You'll have to convince Lindsay to move out to LA.
I'll try. We're getting off topic again. She keeps wanting to interview us. We're supposed to be interviewing you.
She's so good at this.
It's
We do. Tell me about your
Tell us about your child. I've got a weird question. I think this tells a lot about a person. If you could only have one genre of music to listen to the rest of your life, what genre of music would that be, and why?
Oh god, that's so hard. It's gonna take me a minute.
Or even an artist, if you prefer.
That's harder. I
I think,
think
yeah, that would make it harder.
I
Yeah.
will narrow it down even more. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Can we possibly revert back to this question at the end of the podcast?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
I have like a variety of like I love music. So it's hard to narrow down to just one genre. That's really hard.
It's like picking between your kids. Which one's your favorite? You only
Yeah, you can't do that. It's hard. And like I don't even know what my favorite genres would be described as. I'm not like super into alternative country.
That could be hard.
Like, can I just shoot you my Discover Weekly, and then we'll just go with that because it's the same stuff. Go with my Discover Weekly. It's like a very a variety of different types of music, but it's not like EDM. It's a lot of like Kygo and like summer vibes kind of music, get you pumped up, but also take you down memory lane. We'll come back. I'll answer this later.
Fair enough.
What did it tell you about me so far out of what I just answered?
I haven't made my ultimate conclusion yet. Wait till you.
Oh no.
I gotta get all the evidence first, and then I pump out the answer. So I'm still processing as well.
Okay. I'll give you that one. Why? Okay. I'm thinking on it. It's really hard. I know
Cassy,
Arthur for it like
what-
instantly. Sorry, Drew.
Oh, that was Arthur. I think. Did I say something?
Yeah.
I
No,
might
you're-
have said something.
Green went
I
green,
could have
so I
said
was like,
Oh,
There you go. Cassy, what? I know you kind of touched on wanting to do PR. Like that's kind of overall goal, but is there like a goal of, a type of client, or is there a goal of like owning your own PR firm or agency? Is there?
it's really funny because not only you, but like multiple people throughout the pandemic told me, since I was doing so much of my own kind of PR for friends and whatnot, that I should just open or start my own firm. But I feel like I have so much more to learn before that. Like I'm still at the early stages of my PR career. But I think my ultimate goal would be to sign as many of my friends in the industry as I can. Because a lot of the publicists that I was networking with and speaking to and on calls with throughout the pandemic, a lot of them had started as assistants and had moved companies and then had grown their own kind of firm, but a lot of them also didn't know that PR was what they wanted to do. They just saw some project, contacted an agent, said, hey, is this person represented by anyone? They said no. And like time passed and then they signed that talent, you know? So it happens when you least expect it, I think, in this side of the industry. And I just want to be able to, again, just help friends' passion projects and projects in itself reach the big screen and reach the public. And that's my ultimate goal. So I don't really have an actor that I'm like, I want to be your publicist right now, because I was working with so many different people while I was at my last job. And each client, even though I didn't know them, when I started watching their projects and reading their books and whatnot, whatever it was that they were working on, I fell in love with the work, you know? So I think it's the work that everyone puts into it that makes it special. So.
Yeah. And you got me hooked on some of that work. Like, man, Rami, what
Right?
a show.
Yeah. See, like, I just can't stop talking about the things that I help promote. So yeah, next question. I'm ready, guys.
Yeah.
So, as you look back on like your life in like high school or like middle school or something, have you always been like a PR person deep down? Like, have you always been like hyping your friends' stuff up or like helping them set
Always.
up a display for
Yeah.
a science project, or like, I don't know.
I didn't, like, the thing is, I was a pretty big fangirl of a lot of like movies growing up and stuff, but not to the extent where it's like over the top crazy. But the first, like, that, I was always into film and television and always catching like the newest episode of my favorite show on like the day it aired. You know, I was always that person and very interested in the film and television industry. So that's why I wanted to go to school to study film. And when I first came to LA, it was like, oh my God, the lights and the glamour and everything about LA, it's so amazing. And I would start seeing celebrities everywhere I turned, like the first summer I was interning out here. And it wasn't until after that that I was like, oh, they're people, they're just like us. It's just their work, you know, but I paid more attention to the work that they were doing after that, because I came from that kind of background and wanting to be so in that industry. I don't know if that makes sense, but yeah, I've always been interested in the industry, but not so much publicity, because I didn't really know that was what the job was. So when I was working in business affairs at Paramount, one of my boss's projects was A Quiet Place, and I love The Office. I love John Krasinski. I was just so excited for this movie to come out, and having helped him with all these deals with it, I was getting everyone ready to see this movie. And when it came out, I don't know if Arthur, you were there at that point. You might have been. But everyone always usually goes to the opening night of Paramount's films in the Paramount Theater. And that was the most crowded I've ever seen that theater. People were sitting on the steps, and every seat was taken basically to watch A Quiet Place. And I was so hyped for this. I was like, okay, I'm not really into scary movies, but I love thrillers, and that's why I was like, everyone needs to go see this. It's not like any other scary movie. And I don't know if you guys have seen it. If you haven't, go see it, because it's time. The second one's coming out soon. But as soon as it stopped, all of the Paramount Theater went crazy. Like, there was applause in the audience, and everyone knew it was the movie that we needed to come back on top. And of course, that's what it did. It like made box office records, and it was amazing. And it was after that, and going and telling everyone, like, you need to go see this, you need to go see this, I realized publicity was what I wanted to do. So it hasn't always been something that I've known is what I wanted to do. But after working on that project, after it coming out, after experiencing the marketing around it after the fact, I was like, okay, PR, this is what I'm going to do. And it makes sense in every way. So A Quiet Place, got me that.
Good movie.
Awesome.
I remember that, man. It was a packed theater. You're absolutely right, and just the energy in the audience was I remember it was. I mean, it's a quiet movie, and I remember everyone was so quiet at the beginning of the film, and there's nothing going on, and there's hardly any sound in the movie, and then somebody just opened up a soda, and everybody just started laughing a little bit.
They were like 2 rows behind me. I remember they were like center. Yeah, and like that movie, you obviously like have to stay quiet throughout all of it, but not a single person in the theater had like popcorn or was eating, because you can't even eat or drink in that theater. But I mean, sometimes people will bring their stuff in, but there were roars, there were applause, and like you guys have seen the movie, right? I know one. Okay, so as soon as Emily Blunt's character just like shot the gun and it was done, everyone was standing up, screaming. It was like nothing I'd ever experienced before, let alone like at a movie theater, but at Paramount. It was just amazing. So it was awesome knowing that I took a very small part in that, and I want to be a part of my friends' victories, and I want to show their work off. You know, I just want to get that out to the world. So that's why I like PR.
Awesome.
So, I guess what I know you got your master. You went to school at undergrad and got a master's. What exactly did you study?
So I did film for my undergrad, and then I did digital media for my master's, and all at Sussex. So yeah, it was a total of 4 years there. Pretty cool. My parents.
Do you ever?
Sorry.
No, you good. You're what?
My parents basically told me like, you're not leaving school without a master's. Like, it's gonna come in handy eventually. So I was like, okay. And a lot of my friends at school they did this foundation year. So when I had my freshman year, they were kind of like, they did that foundation year. So when I was in my master's, they were all graduating that year. So it aligned perfectly, and yeah, it was a good time. I didn't feel like alone, or that none of my friends went there anymore. So it was good.
Do you ever see yourself like going back to England to live full time?
No. I feel like I'm like, this is home now. I feel like if you make it, I remember when I moved here, someone told me, wait 5 years, and if you feel comfortable in LA, then you've made it and it's home. And I already feel that at like 3 years, at 4 years. You know, this is where the industry is, and I mean, granted, right now it's kind of in limbo because of the pandemic and everything, and everyone's working from home. But this is the industry, and this is what brought me out here, and you can't really complain with like the weather, and you have the canyons and you have the beach. So I wouldn't trade that for like rainy days in England. I had a lot of that in college, and I wouldn't have traded that experience for the world. But I think California is my home.
Yeah, you have such a sunshine personality. It's hard to picture you in rainy England.
Yeah. When it would rain for like 4 days straight, it depresses you a little bit, you know. You're like, I need some sun. So yeah. An advantage of living there was that it was so close to Europe. So we traveled as much as we could. But a lot of my friends from high school, they did their masters abroad. So a lot of them live over there now. And seeing how much they travel, it's just annoying. It's like, I didn't travel that much when I was in school, and now you guys do this now. It's like, cool, have fun. But yeah, only visits. Like,
where's your favorite place? What's your favorite place to visit?
Like ever, or where I've been, or where I want to go, or
all of the above in that order.
I don't even know the order that I just said. Okay, favorite place I've been, probably Cairo and Tanzania. Favorite place to go back to, if that was one of the questions, I think it was Nice, France. That's one of my favorite cities ever. I love seeing capitals, but Nice in the south of France it's gorgeous. I went there for a school trip in 8th grade, and we stayed with families. Since I was in an international school, like half of the kids in my school would speak Spanish, and then half would speak French, and then a few spoke Dutch. So all the French students went to Nice, and all the Spanish students went to Guatemala, I believe it was. So I went there, and I absolutely fell in love with it. So yeah, I love Nice. You guys should definitely go when you get the chance. Yeah, and then I can speak French there, so it's nice to be able to use what I learned for 13 years and put that to good use, as opposed to here, because no one in LA speaks French.
Yeah.
And then was there a third
Except
one?
Tim,
Arthur?
my roommate.
Oh yeah, Tim. Duh, of course. But I never see Tim.
That's
Gotta
true.
see Tim more.
He's a recluse.
I think one was where do I want?
Was there a third
where
one?
do I want?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see, where do I want to go?
Yeah, where would you want to go?
I want to go to Thailand.
Kansas?
And Kansas. I want to see the Chiefs play.
Now that's a sight to see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not in LA. Where they come from. That's what I'm about.
You want to see them win. It was funny when so Cassie went to a game with when Connor Knutson and Matt Bobbin and Alex Severance came out to visit me. She went to a game with us, and Matt and Connor were just coaching her up on what to say, and it was Mahomes' first game, and so they're like, all right, so if anybody asks, all you have to say is, I'm excited to see what Mahomes can do this year.
Am I saying it right? Am I saying Mahomes right? Matt had to tell me, like,
Yeah.
it's like Mahomes. He rhymed it with something, but I forgot what it was. But I got it eventually.
That's funny.
Pretty good game. Pretty good
Yeah.
game. And I think we were the only ones in that stadium wearing red, so it's totally worth it because they won. Aren't we? I feel like it was a lot of blue.
Yeah, it was a lot. I
A
mean,
lot of blue.
Chargers before that year were in San Diego, so it was like kind of half and half.
Yeah. But that was my first football game. I've never been to a football game before. My only football game. I haven't gone to one since. So
American football game.
yeah. Oh, of course, American football.
Isn't the other pronounced football? Is that right? Or am I wrong on
I think
that?
that's how they say it in Holland. Football. But
So
yeah.
I shouldn't be saying that then. I should just call it,
Football? I mean,
or I guess
Why
I'll-
trying to pretend he's cultured?
I'm not. I mean, look at me. I have a Chiefs thing back there. I'm not cultured. I'll just call it soccer. I'll just be that ignorant
There you go.
that
American.
works.
Yeah, soccer.
There you go.
Yeah.
This may have been touched on a little bit, but so is your end goal then what you thought, the peak, the one thing you want to accomplish with this is start up your own PR firm? Is that what you want to do, or what would you describe that like your mountaintop goal is?
I don't know if I want to start my own firm right at this second, if that's like my ultimate game plan, but I also know I'm in a job now where I'm going to be learning so much more than I even know, that I don't know if that's going to open my mind up to even more possibilities of where I want to go in a couple years. But I do want to be able to sign my own clients. Like that is something I want to see in the future for sure for myself. Because first one is Arthur White. And second one is this podcast, because podcasts need publicists too, guys.
Yes, we do.
It's very true.
Yeah.
So,
So
They'll help
that's
us get sponsors and everything.
you guys will have so many guests on by that point, like you won't even need sponsors.
I hope so, but we
That's
still
the
want
goal.
sponsors. So
Whoever's gonna give
I
us
don't
the
care.
money.
As long as we can talk to people, we can never make a dime. I'm fine with it. Whatever.
That's true. That's true.
We've got Mahomes on speed dial. It's fine. We got this.
Now that's who we need.
Yeah.
That's who we need.
That's why it's mountaintop.
Yes.
Probably. Yeah.
I could just be in his presence I would kiss his ring. I would. Anyway, it got weird. That's my Mahomes. So yeah, you were saying you wanted to sign your own clients.
Exactly. My own clients.
So, as a PR person, you're doing all this stuff for other people. Do you have like your own personal projects that you like to do as well, or do you see your work as kind of your, personal project?
Right. Growing up, I was really into photography. My uncle was a fighter pilot and a photographer, and I went to visit him with my mom in Hong Kong one summer, and the whole we took one day out on his boat, and the whole day I was filming all of it, and he was teaching me the ropes of like, this is how you use the camera and this is how you would film, and I just got so into it that after that trip I started making like a lot of videos. So with every event that I went to for like a friend's birthday or a gathering, what have you, I would always be taking the photos, and then I would kind of like collect all of them and then make short videos. But I haven't done that in a couple of years. It's been pretty busy with work and everything. But yeah, Arthur's asked me this stuff too, and I'm like, I just love supporting people so much more. But I don't know, being in the pandemic and everything this year, it's like really shown us what we can do with what we already have in front of us, so I'd be like painting one day, and then I'd be like putting up curtains another day, and just doing projects around the house just to keep myself busy, and that kept me sane. So I don't know, I have hobbies, but for now I'm just focusing on my new job and trying to do all of that.
What are some of your like what challenges have you faced, like as far as getting work or in your jobs? I know you're very fresh into this job, but like as far as PR work at the other firm, like what were the challenges, the most challenging things that you faced day to day?
I think it was just working with such a wide variety of people, especially like clients. They're their own person, and you need to know and remember when you're working for them that everything they say is right, and anything that they want, that's what we have to give them. So that was part of the reason why working in that side of the industry, you're always on call for your clients, and I had no trouble doing that. It made me feel needed, and it made me feel like I'm doing something fulfilling with my job and everything, and that's why I really appreciated that opportunity to work where I was working. But in terms of the challenges, it was just a matter of always remembering to put the people that you're working for first. And, if something goes wrong, it's not your fault. It's not the end of the world. The world's still turning, but you're just working with people so closely that you just always need to remember their vision and your vision have to come together and work as one, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I imagine that would make working with your friends more appealing, because like it'd be easier to make the visions become one.
Yeah,
right?
totally.
Or maybe even make it more challenging. I don't know.
Yeah, and I mean, sometimes clients don't work out, and publicists and agents and managers, they can choose to work with whoever they want to work with based on their relationships. So I definitely feel like relationships play a really heavy part in this side of the industry, because they're all based on relationships. If I'm going to sign like you wouldn't just sign with me if you didn't know me. Like, you'd want to know like where I come from and like what experience I have and why I should be your publicist. Like there's a whole variety of questions you have to ask yourself, and publicists, they put you out in the public for a reason, and you want to trust their judgment. And yeah, relationships are key to that. So that's why I've always tried to keep up my relationships. I didn't know it was going to get me to where I am today, but here we are. So
it's not what you know, it's who you know.
And you guys know me now. That's awesome.
Yeah.
We do?
I have more friends in Kansas. I'm so excited.
Do you have anything that you want to like shout out or like point focus to?
Everyone go vote. Please, everyone go vote.
Yeah.
I'm it's it's been a challenging couple of months based on the obvious, but I'm in a weird state because I've grown up. I've always identified myself as kind of the outsider of like all the groups that I've grown up with. When I was growing up in DC, I was in an international school where basically everyone came from a different country. So I was British, but I had an American accent. My best friend was German. She had an American accent. So everyone was from all over the world. I go to England for school and I'm surrounded by, again, a lot of international students, and I am seen as the American because I have an American accent. But really I'm British, but they see me and they hear me and they're like, you're the American of our friend group, you know? So I've come here and then I'm building my own identity all over again, like you were in college, and I'm trying to stay true to it now more than ever because of the times we're living in, and they're so crazy. But it again, like no one knows I'm British, but it's so important that everyone votes now because of everything that's going on. So I'm not American, I can't vote, and Oprah's company now that I'm working for, they've given all of the employees a paid day off to go out to the polls and vote or to go volunteer. And I just think it's in my due diligence because I can't vote to at least volunteer. So that's what I'm going to be doing on election day. And I'm really excited because I've never taken part in voting in this country before. And to be a small part of that process, I'm really excited about. So if I can say anything right now, it would just be to vote.
Yes.
Yeah. I wish I could say more if I was doing any projects, but I'm not writing a book. I'm just working on my job, and I just want to do really well and make a difference. And yeah.
Great. Yeah, I mean, from the hour that we've been in here, I would say that you're definitely making a difference just from what Arthur said about you and then what you've said. It's pretty inspiring, honestly. Very inspiring.
Thanks a lot. Thank you, Joe. That's awesome for you to say. I mean, I'm British. My mom's Scottish and my dad's Guyanese, and I don't really know my dad's side of the family at all, and that's the Black in me. So this year's kind of been a little challenging because it's like finding myself all over again through all the different tragedies that have happened this year as well, and that's been something that has kind of touched upon me pretty recently. And again, going back to just wanting to like play a part in all of this and help make a difference, it almost feels insane that like I got a job through the pandemic, and where I got the job, you know, I'm not just working for like any network, I'm working for the Oprah Winfrey Network, and she's one of the most powerful Black women in the world, and where she came from and her story is amazing. And I just can't help but think it's fate and I'm supposed to be here. And as much as I loved my job that I was at before, there was something dragging me to my next path, you know, and maybe I didn't want to admit that before, but now that I'm working where I am, I know it's for good and it's for good reason, and I'm excited to see where it goes. But yeah, this year has been difficult, but I haven't exactly led myself to believe that, just because I've always tried to stay positive and keep all my friends around me going and motivated. And that's why I just jumped into that PR thing with our friend Casey for his theater show. I was just like, yeah, if people need to get the word out here about this, I'm going to do it. You know, I needed to keep myself motivated, and that really helped me stay on my feet. And yeah, I want everyone to succeed, and I want everyone's passion projects to be out in the world. And I want us to overcome the terrible situation that we're in right now of 2020. And yeah, I want to play a part and give back to the country that's done so much for me. You know, I wouldn't have had a lot of experiences if it wasn't for my upbringing where I was and experiences I had. So yeah, if everyone just goes and votes, that'd just be awesome. So I'll leave it at that.
Agreed.
Amen.
That was a mouthful. I'm sorry, guys.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, that's what it's
No,
about.
thank you so much for sharing. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
appreciate
Well, thank you guys for having me. It was awesome meeting you, and I hope I can in person. You guys ever
Yeah.
come
it. Yeah,
to LA?
I'll be out there
Definitely.
sometime
Yeah.
in the next year, hopefully, for some reason.
Awesome.
hopefully we get out there without the, hopefully get a
Maybe for,
vaccine.
maybe for good.
Maybe for good.
Yeah, we'll
Who
see.
knows? Who knows?
Well, anyway, Cassy, thank you again so much. Your message at the end just is so incredible, and you're just an incredible friend and an incredible person. I'm glad that I got to share you now with two of my best friends from home, and man, yeah, no doubt in my mind that you're going to change the world. So
Thank you guys.
thanks again.
It was so much fun. And Wyatt, I have to answer your question, but I don't
Yes.
have to.
Yeah.
Yes.
With my Discover Weekly, so just everything, all the music, all the music. And you know what's good about Discover Weekly? It's new music each week, so I don't turn down any new songs. I just love it all. Love it all.
She's so open.
I don't think that's an answer. We'll do a stay tuned and
No.
we'll have you on
Yeah.
again.
We'll make it.
Then,
Okay, yeah. For the
then
next
you
time.
give me an answer, all right?
Okay, sounds great. Perfect.
All right, it was a pleasure meeting you. And
You too, guys. Thank you.
yep, thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye.
Talk to you later, Cassy.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.